and citation. Essentially, the following restrictions have been restored and backed by this regulation. Social distancing of at least 2 meters shall be maintained at all times between persons. Gathering of more than 50 persons shall not hold in an enclosed space except for religious purposes, in which case the gathering shall not exceed 50% capacity of the space. Operations of public places such as markets, including open markets, malls, supermarkets, shops, restaurants, hotels, event centers, gardens, leisure parks, recreation centers, motor parks, fitness centers, etc., shall be guided by the observation of the following: wearing a face covering that covers the nose and the mouth. Facilities are provided for the washing of hands or application of hand sanitizer approved by NAFDAC, and facilities for checking body temperature are provided, and any person found to have a body temperature of about 18 degrees Celsius shall be denied entry and advised to immediately seek medical attention. The regulations also places some responsibilities on the operators and occupiers of premises for the...
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Entities to please remain for conscious of the rising numbers.
Service of the NTA.
Why you dey buy pet product, make you dey careful, no go damage your life. You've got one life to live. Buy original. You should know where to go. The SOS. Don't touch, don't touch.
It's fake.
Don't touch, don't touch.
It's bad.
Don't touch, don't touch.
It hurts.
Don't touch, don't touch.
It destroys.
Don't touch, don't touch.
It kills.
You should know where to go. The SOS.
Vaccines are springing up and people are being inoculated around the world against the dreaded COVID-19. Thanks to our great scientists and health experts working round the clock to save humanity from the raging claws of the coronavirus. Let's keep observing the safety protocols as part of measures to check the spread of the virus. Wash your hands frequently in running water, wear a face mask, avoid crowded spaces, and seek medical attention if you feel sick. It's the science of measurement that affects all human activities. It's called metrology. What is it about? What are the benefits of metrology to our socio-economic life as individual or nation? What agency of government supervises metrology? We have answers to these questions and more on the program. Standards Organization of Nigeria calibrates weigh bridges at the nation's port and petroleum products depot. As Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, restates commitments to cripple activities of unscrupulous importers of substandard products into Nigeria. A warm welcome to an evening of product quality and safety on television, courtesy of the SON. 6:30 p.m. every Monday is our transmission time on Africa's largest television network, the NTA. I bring you greetings from the Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, management and staff of the agency. Ifeyiwa Okonkwo is my name. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be back shortly.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, brings a new lease of life to Nigeria SMEs. SON has put a greater premium on developing standards to improve made in Nigeria products for export. We have developed more standards for products like sesame, cocoa, gari, and more, courtesy of our accredited state-of-the-art laboratories. In keeping with the federal government's ease of doing business, SON has simplified its processes and turned around time for SUNCAP, MANCAP, and other certification processes. SON has intensified market surveillance, raids, and seizures to reduce substandard products in circulation, and offenders shall be prosecuted. Join SON in ridding our nation of substandard products. If you see something, say something. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving lives through standards.
We will continue to develop and expand our quality infrastructure for the nation's socio-economic prosperity. Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria gave this assurance as the agency commences calibration of weigh bridges at the ports and petroleum products depots across the country. Standard & You has more on the exercise. Please take a look.
The road is a critical infrastructure constructed and maintained by governments. Its importance to human activities cannot be overemphasized. Successive governments have over the years committed billions of naira to road construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance. Every day, millions of goods are imported into the country through the ports and borders. These goods are distributed to other parts of the country by road transport. There are tens and thousands of haulage firms with heavy-duty vehicles plying major roads within the country, and most times overloaded with goods, mounting pressure on our roads, in most cases causing serious damage of the roads. It's against this backdrop that government rose to the challenge to preserve Nigerian roads by insisting that weigh bridges at the nation's ports, petroleum products depots, and terminals be calibrated by the SON to ascertain the accurate weight of goods loaded before embarking on the road. Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Malam Farouk Salim, puts the nationwide exercise by government in perspective.
When manufacturers make cars, usually and lorries and other equipment, there is always a load limit. And some of the lorries, they have a tonnage limit. And the weighing stations that we calibrated, the reason why they are calibrated is to make sure they're accurate. So they can measure exactly what the trucks are carrying. And most of these trucks, there's a limited amount of load they can carry. If you pass that load, there is a tendency for the cars not only to get spoiled, but for them to spoil the road, and also the tendency for accidents. So that's why usually it's better when you're loading a lorry or even a regular car, you put what is required or less. Less load is not bad, but too much load is not good for you. And most of our roads, if you notice, we have all these potholes all over the country. And one of the reasons why we have these potholes is because some of the lorries are carrying overload, and the roads are specifically created to take a certain amount of weight. If that weight is too much, then some of the areas on the road will sink, and then that will create room for potholes. And when you have potholes, you have chances for accidents and loss of life and property.
Director, National Meteorology Institute of the SON, Engineer Bid Obai, who flagged off the exercise, told Standard & You that calibration of weigh bridges will reduce the pressure on the roads and provide accurate measurement of goods for economic transactions.
A lot of vehicles are falling down on the road, and we're talking of potholes. These potholes are because the roads are being overloaded. So if the roads are not overloaded and used within the acceptable load limit, these roads will not give way easily, and they will last for a long time.
The SON, he disclosed, has the capacity and quality infrastructure to discharge its mandate in custodian of primary measurement standards of highest accuracy in Nigeria.
Compliance means keeping to this. Compliance is also at the level of the owners because they need to be sure that they maintain this way bridge regularly, and that is why we have to advise them because based on the frequency of usage, you will now know that this kind of way bridge, the next time for it to be checked, like what we are doing now, will not be very far because of the frequency of usage. And so we have to advise them so that they will know that within the shortest time possible, they will invite us again to come and do this. Because it's important to them. Because if the scale is misbehaving, then they may be losing or the customer will be losing. Because if you are charged by weight, because mostly costing is done by weight, if you are charged by overweight or underweight means that the owner will be losing. But if you are charged overweight, it means that somebody is paying for what he's not bringing in. So that is why we need compliance at all levels. Even the truck owners will also advise their drivers to ensure that they keep to the maximum load levels so that the roads will be okay.
The SON boss says the agency will work with other relevant government agencies to ensure strict compliance with government's directive, adding that measures have been put in place to sanction violators of the new policy.
Nice to have you on the program. We are still talking measurements. Have you ever imagined what you would do if you found out that the sphygmomanometer for the checking of your blood pressure gives you a wrong figure? Or how do you ascertain that a kilogram measure of meat you purchase at the market is indeed accurate? Let's take you into the world of metrology, the science of measurement and its relevance to human survival. These are Nigerians moving from one location to another. Like billions across the globe, these men and women engage in several activities, all in the quest for survival. This human endeavor cuts across health, aviation, oil and gas, manufacturing, trade, mining, sports, transportation, agriculture, and research. The importance of metrology in human activities, experts say, cannot be overemphasized. This is because there is hardly any aspect of human endeavor without measurements. For instance, the various tools used in the hospital, especially the thermometer used for measuring body temperature, has to do with figures. The weighing scale used by the trader to measure food item is also about numbers. The taximeter used by cab operators measures distance traveled, and dispensing machine at the fuel station also measures the quality of fuel sold. The consequences of inaccurate figures or measurement by these tools in the various sectors, especially the health sector, are enormous.
It all depends on who is doing what, because some machines could be manipulated. For example, petrol stations, they do manipulate fuel pump. Like you can buy a 10 liter, but you're not buying 7 liters, but they will not tell you. And some blood pressure machine could also be faked. Some are original, some are not.
Giving that inaccuracy and then working on that inaccuracy could lead to terrible situation, like in the case of death, for instance.
It's against this backdrop that the Standards Organization of Nigeria is expanding its metrology laboratory. The agency, under the leadership of the present Director General, Malam Farouk Salim, has embarked on a massive development, an upgrade of SON's quality infrastructure, which includes the state-of-the-art National Metrology Institute, NMI, in Enugu State, southeast of Nigeria. It's the first of the kind in sub-Saharan Africa. The NMI, with over 25 laboratories, is responsible for the dissemination of measurements, standards, and provides traceability and accuracy of measurements.
The essence of this is for us to appreciate metrology, which is the science of measurement, that with proper guidance you will know that this is how you are operating. It is for proper guidance of all the operators in the industry so that we begin to know that what we are doing is okay or is not okay. And if it is not okay, you do it right. And so SON is leading the forefront because you have to put the standards first. You have to now make sure that those standards are given the right values.
The NMI, when completed, will boost Nigeria's export base, improve the health of citizens by providing accuracy in measurement, and strengthen other components of national quality infrastructure, namely standardization, accreditation, certification, and testing.
Be it in the oil industry, be it in agriculture, be it in commerce, be it in the medical field. Because if somebody says this is your blood pressure and that instrument is wrong, the doctor can give you recommend some medicine for you when you are not suffering. And that will be very dangerous. That somebody is saying you should be operated upon now, and that is not your state of health. So how do you look at it? Somebody gives you a medicine that's now going to cause another problem for you. So that is why metrology is important. Even the scale that is used in the hospital. Who tells you that scale is correct? And you jump and you tell somebody this is your weight, when that is not his weight. Because that scale is supposed to be calibrated and recalibrated at specified intervals, depending on the usage of the scales. So that is why metrology is key. The average market woman who goes to buy meat, overseas, there also everything is sold by weight. It is here we begin to use small measures. Somebody will now cut and use the back of the measure to now sell, and instead of giving the correct value. So metrology is saying if it is okay, it's okay. If it is not okay, it's not okay.
Standards Organization of Nigeria has continued to acquire relevant equipment to enhance its operations at the NMI and taking delivery of modern technology from Europe and America to provide excellent service in the country. The SON boss has also upgraded the agency's engineering laboratory in Enugu with the state-of-the-art equipment. You're still watching Standard and You. Now you know why you should calibrate that device in your home. Away from measurement to enforcement. If you continue to bring substandard products into the country, we shall come after you, seize the substandard products and destroy them. Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Malam Farouk Salim, made this declaration when the agency destroyed substandard tires and LPG cylinders worth millions of naira in Amuo Odofin, Lagos.
These are brand new tires stuffed into one another. They've been tested and all failed the various parameter tests, making them substandard and not safe for use, as explained by the Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Malam Farouk Salim.
Some of them are contraband outright because they are used containers, and some of them are new but they are below standards. We've tested them and they're below standard, which means they will most likely explode if a gas is put in there, and with the temperature we have in the country and all that. So it's just dangerous for the community. So that's why we are destroying it. I just wish there is a way that we can just send it back to where it came from. But we don't have an agreement with foreign countries to return back whatever they're allowing people to dump here. So technically they are just dumping they're making our country into a dumping ground where these substandard cylinders, believe it or not, they will explode and they will kill people. There are incidents of things like that happening right now.
The tires were packed from various outlets and warehouses across the country, and the DGSON is worried by the prevalence of substandard products, especially life-threatening ones like the tire and LPG cylinders. Malam Farouk Salim told newsmen that the agency will leave nothing to chance to ensure that perpetrators of this wicked business are flushed out of the market. Stiffer sanctions, he disclosed, awaits unscrupulous importers of fake and substandard products into Nigeria. Nigeria, he said, is not a dumping ground for such substandard products, adding that Nigerians deserve the best and must be exposed to only quality goods. Director, Inspectorate and Compliance, Engineer Obiara Manafa, spoke on the implication of using such substandard tire.
Ordinarily, there's nothing wrong with these tires. Assuming we got them from the factory, the way they came out from the factory, there's nothing wrong with the tires because the tires are good. But what rendered them substandard now is the act of stuffing. Now, you can look at the tire because we have unstuffed it after the stuffing. The owner of these tires stuffed them. They packed them about 5 in one. And the stuffing means forcing smaller ones into bigger ones. Then bigger one into another bigger one, into another, until you get the biggest one. By way of trying to dodge so many things like duties, shipping costs, and so on and so forth, to make too much profit. But in the act of making too much profit, they don't look at the quality implication of those tires. So look at these tires now. The tire has been disfigured. This tire has been disfigured by the process of stuffing and unstuffing because they are done by mechanical means.